All right, guys, I'm out here today in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I've got the DS2, and if you're wanting to learn how to run the DS2 on a saltwater beach, then this video is for you. Now, my base program is going to start off beach sensitive, and we're going to talk about where to utilize the other programs, beach and dive program on the DS2 on saltwater beach hunting, and where some people may prefer the other programs over this program. But we're going to take the settings that I'm going to show you. I'm going to demo down in the wet salt here, beach sensitive. I'm going to give you the explanation why I use these settings, and you can take the same exact settings, transfer to beach or dive program, and utilize and take off hunting with the settings that I'm going to demo in beach sensitive. But we're going to deep dive and nerd out on the DS2 and how to run it on the saltwater beach. First of all, let me get the glare off the screen and transfer over to this other camera, and I'm going to show you how I set this machine up. So I'm in beach sensitive. I want the big numbers. Let me get my eyes on, guys. I'm getting old and half blind. I can see the screen fairly well, but I like to have my spectacles on. I run down to about 7 to scrim. Now you could go lower, you can go down to 6.4, but on the beach, it's not like I'm hunting in an iron-loaded site. And I still have plenty of discrimination here. I've not had any problems digging iron on the beach at this discrimination. Sensitivity, I'm gonna bump it because I'm using an 11-inch coil, and I'm gonna bump it to 93. I'm gonna raise a salt sensitivity to 8. Now, if I left it at 7, I can get away with running it at 95. But for stability purposes, I want to run it at 93. Now, your beach may vary on a different day. You may be able to run the salt sensitivity at a 95 and have plenty of stability. Max frequency, very important here, 40 kilohertz. Iron volume, that is subjective to you, but I like a 7 because it helps me determine bottle caps here on the saltwater beach. Now, reactivity, this is key. When you come to the beach with a DS2, this is the minimum reactivity that I found that you can run on a East Coast beach is 1.5. Now, I have friends that are hunting all the way down to the Gulf Coast, and let me readjust this camera. It's wanting to move on me, but let me make sure that I can still see the screen. I have guys, friends that's all the way down on the Gulf Coast, all the way down to Florida. 1.5 is the minimum reactivity, which gives you good separation, awesome depth. Check out the DS2 depth test where I show this thing hitting a 15-inch USA nickel. It's set up just like this program that I'm going to show you. So there's reactivity. Now for me, I go back in and I go to the tones. I do not like, let me make sure that I don't have much glare. I don't have a cameraman today, guys, so you guys bear with me just a little bit. This thing is wanting to rock on me, so let me set it somewhere in here. There we go. Maybe I need to get me another grip. These right here come off of Amazon. They don't do too good, but the 3 tones, I want to go to pitch. I got no bottle cap to scrim on, and I have no problem with bottle caps. They're audible. Once you get a feel for the machine, you can tell a good signal from a bottle cap signal a very, very high percentage of the time. The notch is off, and I leave the silencer at 2. Now, the ground noise or the noise cancel is right there. But there's a little bit of debate, and I'm going to do some testing while I'm here at the beach. And I have been running you can ground noise cancel it and it'll choose from 0 to 6, but I have been running mine at 6 just because there's something that Sharpshooter brought up about it running a higher frequency, and I'm able to do that with EMI permitting on the beach, but there'll be further testing on that. But if you choose to noise cancel it, you can do it the way that I just showed you, or you can preset it to 6 if you can get away with that. And that's a little bit more technical video. There'll be some more videos up on my channel on that, and we're going to see what we can, get from that. But if it gives it a good performance enhancement or not, or if it's minimal. But anyway, that's another story for another video. So this is my setting. Now, I want to show you another key element that I use on this machine, and that is this right here. I run tracking. As you can see, I cut tracking ground balance on. Now I'm just going to kind of bob the coil, let the machine track to the saying swing it back and forth, let it track, and the machine is going to get good and stable. I'm going to crank the mic up and I'm going to show you something, but before I show you, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, if you have the expectation that you're going to put this machine in beach sensitive and go down and stick the coil in the water and not get any feedback, it's not going to happen. This is where using beach and dive program come into play with this machine. This machine set up like this is good. Let me show you. Let me just get the mic out and show you guys how this thing runs. And I'm gonna have to hold the mic because I don't have my strap on the DS2. Let me let it pair up. But let me get the external speaker on, wide open. There we go. The machine is operating, and I want you to listen. Let it track down to the ground. That's right, you don't hear anything, right? Now, watch this. You hear the coil go off? You're not going to be able to submerge the program that I just showed you into the water. But we'll get into that in just a second. But this is how beach... Now, I've got these wireless mics on, and they do affect this machine. So you will hear some erratic that's just coming from the wireless mics. There's something about the frequencies of these things that bother the DS2. But you guys can see the screen. You don't see any numbers flashing up in the screen. The machine, for all practical purposes, is very stable at this point, and that is a very deep program. And this program has been run all the way up the east coast of the United States, all the way down to Florida, all the way to the Gulf Coast. This is the most sensitive program for the beach on the DS2. You will dig tiny gold, and you'll dig tiny trash too, but you can dig super, super deep rings with this setup. Now let's talk about people coming from different machines, such as say an Excalibur or something like that. They may not like the little bit of sparkiness that the DS2 has in beach sensitive. It will have a little bit of sparkiness here, there, and yonder. They may like a more calmer, super calm machine. You see that the DS2 is plenty calm set up like this. But what do? Well, we take those settings and we run them over into beach. Just what I just showed you, same exact settings. And for time constraints, I'm not going to show it. But what that does is it kicks the DS2 from a 40 kilohertz max range down to a 24 kilohertz, as I'm showing you here on the screen at this time, range. And what that does is it decreases the sensitivity of the DS2 to the smaller objects and to deeper objects of gold too. You will lose a minimal depth loss going from 40 to 24 on gold rings. An inch or two. Well, an inch, I'm going to say an inch and a half, respectively, on a 4-gram gold ring at maximum depth. Now, you can change the frequencies in that, but we're not going to get into that. We're just going to use the diving program. I think a lot of people get confused. I think this should have been called, like Mine Lab did, surf and seawater, or a different name like water or ocean or something, because this program is really utilized for the water. You can quiet the machine down, and actually while I got you here, we'll just go ahead and demo this program. I'm holding my mic up like I'm talking into it, but see the settings in it, same basic, everything we want the same. Salt sensitivity, and they even got it cranked up to 9, and you may get away with 9 with this. Well, let's just leave it at 9. 14 max frequency, 8, but this is key right here. We're gonna raise it to 1.5. And you can lower it, and what is to be gained between raising and lowering reactivity while we're on that, before I demo this program, there is actually a big gain. You gain stability, you also gain depth, and you gain recovery speed. So if you want it super stable, you may go from the 1.5 to a 2. But I found that 1.5 in all of these programs, to me, is the magic number. And I'm going to put the frequency shift on 6, and like I said, there will be later videos on that to determine whether or not that is something that we need to be doing. And but But stay tuned, that's a different story for a different video, like I said. We're in diving now. We're gonna cut the ground balance on what? We're gonna cut it on tracking. And see, that's the dive program set up just like the beach sensitive program. Let's look at it real quick. We're gonna let it track. Let's listen to it at the water. All right, I got my mic on. Listen to it when the water hits the coil. We're gonna let the water touch the coil. Here it comes. You see that, right? So now you can silent search the DS2. Now you say, well, Calabash, why don't you set the DS2 up like that all the time? Well, the thing is you lose sensitivity to super small targets. And you lose some depth on a gold ring. Now this sucker's plenty deep on silver at this point, but it does lose sensitivity because the frequency drops in the dive program to deal with the salt content in the actual ocean water itself. And you do lose some sensitivity. But I'm going to dig out, while I've got the cameras going and rolling, I'm going to dig out a small 14 karat or 10 karat gold earring, and we're going to look at the programs and just see how much you do lose. It's just a, just a little bit of demonstration on the DS2 for what the different programs do. Hold on. Well, guys, change of game plan. We're going to use a small pendant here, and this is 14 karat gold with a ruby in the middle that I found actually on the beach. Let's go down here and bury this thing somewhere and just look at it. You guys, give me just a few minutes and let me kick this back over. You guys, look at that hole right there. I don't know if it'll hit that small pendant in there or not, but we're going to drop it in there and find out. Let's see what happens here, guys. This could get very interesting very quick. Small gold pendant going in the hole. Bag closed up. Wet salt sand. Will it hit it in beach sensitive? That's a good question. You guys know I didn't get to test that off camera, right? So we don't know. Let's see. Will it hit it in the dive program that I set up? That'll be a good question. And that's the difference between beach sensitive and dive. But you also gain the stability, of the dive program if you want a solid search. It's not quite as drastic. Well, it is probably 2 inches on a 4-gram gold ring at max depth on the DS2 from beach sensitive to dive program. But the basic settings, let me run you guys back through this. Transfer these settings to all 3 programs, and you could tweak up as down as need be. I mean, beach sensitive, what did I say? Discrim 7, sensitivity 93, salt sensitivity 8. Salt sensitivity plays a big part in how sensitive the DS2 is to small gold. So keep that in mind. The higher that you can run, and 9 is the max. If you can get away with 9 on your beach on that day, you're going to have more sensitivity than 8, and you're going to detect smaller targets, you're going to detect deeper targets. Let's check salt sensitivity of 9 on this. Verse 8. I like 8. 8 is calmer. I don't like a bunch of false signals. And down here in the water, from what I've seen, 8 is calmer on the beach in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Salt sensitivity 8, max frequency 40, iron volume 7, reactivity, the minimum I've seen that you can run in a wet salt sand and have the machine stable is 1.5. Audio response 5, and of course I like the pitch tones for beach hunting. But that is the difference, guys. That right there is how I run the DS2 on the beach. And that should, and there's different areas of the beach up in the dry sand, and you may find that you like beach up here better, or dive, you may like the more solid search, but you are trading off sensitivity to small targets, but one of the things that I've heard complained about is how sensitive this metal detector is and the Manicore based in these high frequency beach programs. And some people don't like digging the tinier stuff, you know, like little earring backs and stuff. Well, you can compensate and you can calm the machine down even in the water with the dive program, but you can take some of the littler targets out by switching from beach sensitive to dive. Drop the sensitivity a couple of points if need be, if you still find yourself digging small stuff, but that is a very, very easy solution to do, and it may take you back to a similar style of CTX hunting, but you're doing it with a 2-pound machine, or Excalibur hunting, but you're doing it with a 2-pound digital machine, which has got a very good ID on the beach, very good bottle cap rejection, and very good bottle cap recognition in the tones without any rejection. So that's that, guys. That's how to run the DS2 on the beach. Thanks for watching. I don't have a cameraman today. I appreciate you guys watching me in a talking head video. Stay tuned.